This is my intro music. Welcome to the video. I hope you like it lots, so don't forget to subscribe and click the thumbs up button. Now let's react.
All right. Hey, hi, hello there. Welcome to the third part of this particular video. I think what's caused the problem with why this video is so long is because I've been talking a lot, because we've been doing a lot more anthropological breakdown than we normally do with Hannah's videos. Normally I just talk through Hannah's video, or Hannah's videos. Fucking Christ. Anyway, if you want to have the full breakdown of what we're doing with these videos, please go watch part one, at least the first like 20-ish minutes of part one. It really does kind of break down exactly what we're doing here. I need to go timestamp that thing now that it's live, and I need to put links in it, but, you know, professional. We have been talking about more anthropological, well, I mean, I should say anthropological too, but this is a theory book. This is by Alison Wylie, Thinking From Things, Essays in the Philosophy of Archaeology. There is a book called Thinking Through Things, which is another anthropological theory book, but we're not using that one. We can when I get $50 to go buy that one. I didn't use that one when I went through school, so I didn't buy it when I was in school. If anybody used that book, I know some of you are going through anthropology. Let me know if you guys use that one or not. Probably going to end up buying a copy just because I can eventually. Anyway, we are still also applying various dark anthropology topics and the 48 laws as we go. I've honestly done the bulk of my breakdowns in the first two videos. We've got 20 minutes of this. TikTok's favorite rich influencer, but why? Influencer Sanity 22, talking about Becca Bloom by Hannah Alonzo. If this is the first of these that you are watching, you really need to go back and watch the other two, because we are wrapping up. But what we're going to do, we're going to finish watching the last 20-ish minutes of Hannah's video, and then we are going to talk about Hannah's response to her comment section, because Hannah got quite a bit of pushback from her audience about this video. Now, I will say, at the time that I was looking at this, which was yesterday being the 5th, today is the 6th of August, though her audience was, I would say, mildly to moderately disappointed, I did not feel like the comments that I read were particularly, like, aggressive, right? Now, she did have over 6,000 comments at the time that I saw it. It's entirely possible she's past that point as well. I did not read every single comment. It's the internet. I am fully aware that there's probably at least one or two comments on there that are not safe for work, because internet be internetin'. So don't take this as me being like, oh my god, she didn't get any negative comments, because I'm sure she did. But the ones that I chose to focus on were fairly reasonable in their responses. And Hannah's blanket response, I think, was fairly reasonable given what she was responding to. And I do want to talk about that. I do want to address not only Hannah's audience's response to her, but also Hannah's response to her audience. But that's going to be at the very end of this, after we've covered all of this. So I do have her sped up to time and a quarter. So thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. Thank you to everybody who's going to hit the thumbs up button. This is going to go out to members early. Hopefully today. Hopefully you'll get both of these parts 2 and 3 today. And then we will get... That'll be the end of it. But then non-members will get this the next day. So let's just jump in and get this over with.
Has a little bow on it. David's parents and entire family is in town, so we're going to Neiman for afternoon tea. They let us eat there for free, but we basically pay the meal amount to the server as a tip usually. Skirt is from Zara. I got it for, I think, like $20.
You pay the meal amount as a tip to the server? Holy shit.
Or something crazy like that. But yeah, I just wanted to come on here and show you guys my outfit. Okay, that is my cat. This is Oscar, guys. You guys have seen him before, but this is him. He's also very cutesy and demure. But yeah, that's it for my outfit of the day. See y'all later. Bye.
The cat interrupting. Very relatable on this channel, okay? But if her own cat didn't walk into frame in this video, I would have assumed she was filming in a hotel lobby. This home is an architectural masterpiece. I've never seen a house this nice before on social media.
Well, all right.
I mean, God, just look at
Social media, okay.
like the details, like that iron railing, the chandelier. This looks like the staircase from Beauty and the Beast. I often joke about how when influencers start to make a bunch of money, they move into these McMansions. They're these ginormous houses that look really impressive on social media, but they're builder grade, they're very simple, they're very basic, they were usually constructed in a very short amount of time, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, assuming that there's no like structural issues, which usually there are with these homes that are being built really quickly. But when you see an influencer's house that you think is really nice, and then you compare it to this kind of a house, the difference between new money and generational wealth, it's so obvious. But aside from that, I just love how in this video, her eyes light up when she's like, I just felt really cute today and I just wanted to show you guys. She means that. Like, she's really just feeling herself and she just wanted to show you her cute outfit. Yeah, she might be dressed head to toe in Chanel and that's not really relatable, but the way that she's presenting it makes it feel relatable to the average girl's girl. You know, some people are
How old is she? Because she's like, I don't know, how old is she?
just genuinely good people, and that's a quality that you can't fake. And it's videos like this one where you can tell she just radiates kindness and sweetness.
I love that this cat has a lazy eye and it goes lazier the more she holds him up.
A lot of people in her comments talk about how she has such kind and welcoming eyes, like
There
you're
it
just
goes.
drawn into her.
Ah! There's nothing wrong with this cat. I just love that it's, at some point it's like a gecko and it's got two eyes going two different directions.
Because she has a good aura about her, which, as I keep saying, is a bit confusing because you wouldn't expect somebody this wealthy to come across this likable, frank.
I think hearing Hannah say something like that, like you wouldn't expect somebody this wealthy to come across this likable. I think, not to be too big of a dick, I honestly feel like that says more about Hannah than it does about Becca. I think that honestly says more about other people's biases against other wealth classes than it really does say about Becca herself. Like, and I think that expectation of that stereotype, I think that really has been driven by social media and by the media in general. I'm pointing back towards my television, which is over in the corner there. You know, movies and television shows and commercials and just that kind of shit, where we have been taught to expect the uber rich to be snobby and bitchy and unrelatable and just bland and stupid and that kind of a thing. But then when we're confronted with somebody like Becca, who is clearly intelligent, who's kind of funny, who's, I don't know, I guess relatable. I mean, I don't not relate to her, the cat. I go, there's, like I said, I'm not particularly like offended by her. I'm not gonna go seek her out or anything. But that's kind of the thing. Like, if you just ran into somebody like Becca at the mall and for whatever reason started talking to her, you probably wouldn't have any issues with her, you know, is kind of my thing. But if you knew ahead of time that she was ultra wealthy and you are not, I mean, you'd walk into that conversation with expectations, and those expectations would be more on you than on Becca. Because honestly, being part of like the super wealthy, everyone Becca's talking to is probably lower socioeconomical class than her anyway, so she's probably just used to that, right? I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I just like, we're making assumptions about Becca based on her wealth that I feel like says more about us than it does Becca, honestly.
Frankly, you want to dislike her, but it's kind of hard to. Here's another example of her house showing her bathroom.
My girlfriend's is in town right now,
That's a cute shirt.
so I'm gonna take her to the Four Seasons Day Spa in Napa. I'm gonna do a quick little outfit of the day before we leave. Top and bottom set is obviously from Louis. For my shoes, I'm wearing this white
Obviously. It's obviously from Louis. Obviously. I like her shower. That's kind of cool.
Chanel slides. And then for my bag, this is where I need your guys' opinions. I'm debating between this little baby blue Pearl Crush or this white tote. Now I can just throw my skincare products inside, and it also matches my shoes perfectly. But then this bag, I do want to get more wear out of because I think I've worn it once since I got it. So let me know what you guys think. Hope you guys have an amazing, amazing day, and I will see you guys later.
Always go with the bigger bag. You can put the little bag in the bigger bag. And then you can carry the little bag around when you don't need the bigger bag. That's big brain thinking right there.
Bye.
She said that she's about to head to Napa to go to the spa, but she looks like she's already at the spa.
Does she live close to Napa, I guess? Where is Napa? Where is Napa Valley? I have no idea.
The first thing that caught my attention was that her shower door in the background, it looks like this like iron wrought gate. And
it's awesome. I love it. Look at the painting in the background too. This is, I love details in bathrooms. This is like, I don't know what, but it's like detail on the wall and the shower above. That's gorgeous. It's pretty. I would never leave that shower.
then there's also like a fountain or like a planter installation thing on the wall over her tub. Again, this is unlike anybody's bathroom I've ever seen before on social media. This feels like a 5-star hotel.
Headed off to an art auction, so I'm gonna do a quick little outfit of the day before
It's a bit extra, but it's cute. It works on her.
we head out. My dress is from Cleo Pepiot. David got this for me for our anniversary last year. He had to custom order because they ran out of my size. For my bag, I'm debating between this mini lady
To custom order because they ran out of my size. Oh.
Dior in lizard skin, or this plain white lady Dior. Let me know which is better. I feel like this is more simple. For jewelry, I'm just wearing the
Yeah, but go with the pink one.
everyday stack. I finally got my Spinelli ring back from repair. For shoes, I'm debating between these white, chunky Polly Pocket shoes from Chanel, which I think match the bag perfectly. I have a second option for shoes as well, which are these new Rene Calvillas that I just bought myself. These are definitely going to be prettier, but I feel like they're not going to be the most comfortable, especially if we have to stand for long periods. Let me know what you guys think, the white bag or the pink bag, and the white shoes or the pink shoes. That's it for my outfit of the day. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see y'all later.
How will you have time? Here's my thing with these kind of videos when they ask these questions. How will you have time to get enough feedback to decide which one to wear? I'm always confused about this.
Bye.
The scale of this house is remarkable, and I feel like you can really get a sense for that in that last clip. And the things that she's getting.
I just noticed that the dress is ombre. So yeah, then you should definitely go with the pink purse. I don't know about the shoes. I'm with her on the shoes though. If you got to be standing all day, you may as well go with the chunky heel.
Dressed up for are also iconic. She's going to afternoon tea at Neiman. She's going to an art show. She's going to the Napa Spa with her friend. What a dream. I love this for her. I really do.
This is what I'm talking about when we were in the second video, I think it was, where we were talking about, where are my notes? Notity notes. Law 32, play to people's fantasies. She's selling us the perfect rich person, right? I keep saying this Robin Hood-esque like figure, like she's the kind, the gentle, the not over the top, chill, rich person, right? And that's a very kind of like, again, non-stereotype rich woman, right? So she's selling us this fantasy, and it's a manipulation tactic. Whether she's honest or not, it's a manipulation tactic. So.
And another thing I wanted to point out about why I think people are drawn to her is that she asks for people's advice a lot of the time on her outfit choices and her accessories. Should I go with this lady?
And that's the altruistic transactional. This is the transactional altruism that she's asking for advice and stuff. It's another one of those, I'm letting you see inside my closet. Here's those new shoes I bought. You get to look at them. I'm asking your opinion, so I'm giving value to your opinion. But at the same time, it's also creating that parasocial feedback, right? I need your opinion. You need to interact with me because I can't make this decision on my own. She very clearly can make that decision on her own. That's not the point. The point is she's asking you, the audience, to interact with her, right? That's what I'm talking about. She is trying to build a parasocial relationship with her audience. Does she need to? Because Hannah's argument is Becca doesn't need TikTok and she doesn't need the internet as an income source because she has income outside of TikTok. It is not a requirement. If she even makes income off TikTok, I have no idea. But she doesn't need TikTok because she has wealth and income outside of TikTok. So by Hannah's argument, Becca isn't trying to create a relationship with her TikTok audience. And I'm saying, yes, she is, because she's still an influencer. She's just not your typical influencer, right? She's still influencing us to consume her product, which is her. She wants us to watch her stuff. She wants us to interact with her videos. She wants us to watch Becca Bloom and interact with Becca Bloom. That's the product we're being influenced to interact with, right? And I've mentioned that in the last two videos. this goes back to the Law 37, create the compelling spectacle. Showing us the over-the-top wedding invitation, the fountain in the bathroom, the $400K necklace. This is all ritualistic symbolism. Now she's showing us these 2 beautiful purses, those brand new shoes. This dress that my boyfriend got me, this is her fiance. My boyfriend got me this for our anniversary, but he had to special order it because they ran out of my size. I have never had those words come out of my mouth, but that also goes back to shit Becca says, as Hannah put it, shit Becca says that we just accept because it's weird, but also, kind of in the same vein, make your accomplishments seem effortless, Law 37. Becca just seems so nonplussed and nonchalant, and it's just because that's part of the brand. That's part of the chill aspect of it. And because of that, it makes her seem relatable, but it also puts her in this innocent box, right? And it makes her hard to criticize. Like, how do you come after somebody who's so innocent? Well, Hannah found it hard, right? Hannah found it difficult to find flaws here. Hannah's usually on this shit, right? And Hannah is trying to compare Becca to other influencers who are attempting to perform wealth. Like, don't be wrong, Becca is performing wealth. This is wealth signaling. Every fucking piece of this is wealth signaling. But it's wealth signaling in a way that's like, if you know, you know, right? Some of us do, some of us don't, some of us care, some of us don't. The people who know. And that's the important part. But she's not talking to those people in these TikToks. She's talking to me. She's talking to Hannah. She's talking to all of y'all. She's not talking to the people in her own social strata, right? Those people don't have TikTok. I lost my train of thought. But anyway, that's my point. Somewhere in there was a point. I don't remember what it was.
The Dior handbag or the Chanel handbag. And I think it's a fun engagement technique because it almost lets people participate in the experience of dressing up in designer. Most people will never have a closet full of designer handbags to choose from, so it's kind of fun for her to be like, should I pick this one or this one? I mean this in the least creepy way possible, but it's kind of like she's a doll that we get to dress up and live vicariously through her. We'll never have the money for these things, but if we did, this is how we'd choose to style that outfit, and it's kind of fun. Many people do give their opinions in her comments on her outfit choices, but then there's also comments like this that crack me up. This person said, I think I'm too poor to give my opinion. There was this one video where she was showing her Hermes jacket and she was talking about how she didn't really tie the belt very well and she's not sure how to tie it. And so she was asking like, if anybody has any advice on how to tie this belt, let me know. And people were commenting like, Becca, we don't own Hermes coats. We don't know if it's tied right. We don't know how to tell you how to do it. And again,
I thought it was Hermes. Is it not Hermes? Hermes? Do you not pronounce the H? Is that not Hermes? Am I wrong? It's okay. I can be wrong. Is it pronounced Hermes? Oh my God, I've been calling it Hermes all my life.
She's not talking down on people. She's asking genuinely like, which designer handbag do I go with? Or how do I tie this Hermes jacket? And people have to remind her like, Becca, we don't dress like this. We don't have this kind of money. We don't know fashion like you know fashion.
I don't think people, I don't know. No, I don't think it's like that at all. I mean, I don't think people, that. Interaction, engagement's engagement. If people want to remind Becca that they don't buy Hermes or Hermes, am I crazy? That's just dyslexia. That's what that is. Anyway, my point is, if people want to remind Becca that they are themselves not rich, that's fine. It's still engagement. But again, as I just got done saying, Becca's not making these TikToks for her peers. She's making these TikToks for us. Right? Yeah, I don't own a jacket like, I don't own an Hermes jacket, but I do own a jacket similar that is a similar design. So there are lots of jackets that look like that tie like that people have that may have a suggestion on how to tie that jacket. That is also not the point. The point is Becca is trying to create engagement with her audience. And if that engagement looks like, I'm not rich enough to own that jacket. Why would you even want my opinion? Well, I mean, but she does. And you just engaged.
And it's funny because she often asks for fashion advice on her page, but she also gives a lot of advice too. And it's damn good advice. She's a very intelligent woman, and not everything she posts has to do with her possessions, although that is primarily what I've shown you in this video. She also has a lot of great practical life advice to offer as well, to the point where people are practically begging her to start a podcast because they love hearing her speak about things. And
maybe we're starting to see the agenda.
here are some of my favorite examples of that.
One of the most important lessons that my parents taught me was that if you are easily reactive or easily offended, you are making it easier for others around you to manipulate you. Let me
That's good advice.
explain why. Research in game theory shows that predictable reactions make it easier for someone to control the dynamic.
You need to remember what her degrees are in and that she was a mathlete. I need to reiterate that to all of you. You need to remember what her degrees are in and what she does for a living. That sentence right there. I would love to hear this woman talk. I would love to hear this woman talk, but yeah, no. Right now, I know she knows exactly what she's doing. And no, she does not work for that talent agency. The talent agency works for her. Period. End of discussion. We are done. You gave yourself away, Becca. I'm on your shit now. It's fine, though. I would love to hear a podcast by her. I would love to listen to her talk. Let's play that back. Let's play that back.
Explain why. Research in game theory or easily offended, you are making it easier for others
This isn't the part I care about.
around you to manipulate you. Let me explain why. Research in game theory shows that predictable reactions make it easier for someone to control the dynamic.
Cat here. Thank you, Becca. All right, so Becca 100% knows what she's doing. She's 100% knows she's playing the game. She 100% knows how people are going to react to her content, and she's nailed it. And Hannah, I love you to death. You fell for it. And that is okay because Becca knew exactly what the fuck she was doing. All right? And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I really am not going to lie to you guys. If I didn't go into this already knowing that people were a little miffed about this, I don't watch TikTok, but so I don't know how I would have interacted with Becca. But the point is, I don't know if I hadn't already gone into this forewarned if I wouldn't have maybe been taken with this myself. All right, that's kind of my point here. Becca is very good. Very good. And if I had never seen this clip, I would never have put this together. So good on you. And Hannah, good on you for catching that fucking clip. I don't know if you know you did that, but you did. And I'm glad that you did that. Thank you very, very, very much. Becca's playing a game. And this is the game. Now, honest to God, if I ever find out that Becca Bloom starts a podcast to talk about this kind of stuff, I would 100% have my ass in that seat. She's very intelligent. She definitely knows what the hell she's doing. She is clearly demonstrating that she does. And I will not be terribly surprised if this TikTok channel has absolutely nothing to do with the literal TikTok audience that she's building. And if it's not a demonstration of her skill set for something else in the future, right? If she's not demonstrating that she can do something, it's so that she can show it to people in the future for some other project that she's working on, right? So this TikTok thing may have absolutely nothing to actually do with the Becca Bloom brand. It might tangentially have something to do with it, but I wonder if this isn't a project that is kind of like a proof of, what do they call it? Proof of something or other. Clearly I don't work in marketing, but that's kind of the point. She's trying to prove that she can do something so that later on down the road, she can point to it and be like, look, this is how this works. And I did XYZ in this amount of time, built this little channel up to this many followers in this amount of time. And this is how I did it. So I know what I'm talking about. That's what's happening here. That's what I think is happening here. Anyway. So all of the things we're talking about with the laws of power, the manipulation, the dark manipulation kind of thing, the dark anthropology, she's 100% playing the game. Now, does that make her a bad person? No, I really don't think it does. She's not really doing anything particularly harmful, honestly, other than being like ultra rich. I do think she might be pushing boundaries a little bit with some of the like wasteful wealth stuff, like with the cat food and that kind of a thing. I haven't really watched too much else of her. I'm sure there are people who are not going to like her simply because she is wealthy and she just has access to things that we will never have access to. There are people who will see her lifestyle as being wasteful simply because it is a rich lifestyle. You know, that if that's your outlook, that's fine. Again, I don't really care. This is something I will never achieve, so I just don't. It doesn't matter. And if that makes me apathetic, then that's the way it is. So, but yeah, now that I've heard this, now that I know what you're doing, I'm even more impressed. Maybe I will go start watching Becca Bloom. God bless. Yeah, but let's get through her life advice, because that's Hannah, good catch. Good catch. Honest to God. Because I was like, man, what is the game here? And this is the game. The game is the game. All right, let's go. Damn, good catch.
For example, that coworker that just knows how to get under your skin. Constant emotional engagement also drains your mental capacity and energy, leading to more impulsive decisions and also making you more likely to accept behavior that you wouldn't otherwise. The more you react, the more power that you give away to others. I think this also applies to early stages in dating when you can't fully trust someone just yet. Reacting to every tiny little thing will give them more leverage when it comes to shifting the power dynamic. I think that women that garner the most respect when it comes to initial dating phases aren't the ones that react and fight every single battle, but rather the ones that selectively and strategically choose when to engage in them. Obviously, this doesn't apply in long-term relationships where trust is already established and working through conflicts strengthen the connection. Key here is knowing which emotional investments are worth it, and oftentimes in the early stages, it's simply not. I think my point here is to not let the opinions of other people that might not matter in the long term affect you, because when you react, you're giving them power and resources to manipulate you down the line. Save your energy for the relationships that do matter long term, and obviously don't tolerate any disrespect from them.
I mean, that's not bad advice, honestly. I mean, I know I went off there at the beginning, but that's really not bad life advice. It really isn't. It's pretty solid.
I feel like I'm watching TikTok Premium. I feel like I should have to pay for this content. She does an amazing job of being really insightful.
Should we give TikTok credit for that, though? That's not really a product of TikTok. That's just Becca Bloom is on TikTok and happened to say that on TikTok. That really wasn't TikTok itself.
Full and straight to the point and offering great advice. And she has a whole series on her account called Advice, and it's just short videos on a variety of topics, and I love the way that she explains things.
We may have to go watch those.
She dropped so many great one-liners that I feel like I need to rewatch that clip over and over to really process everything. But it's great life advice to not be reactive and not give people power over you in that way. And that applies to so many different situations. I think anybody could really take that advice and apply it to their own lives. Here's another one that I really liked.
Here's some of the weird household rules that I grew up with. One, we didn't clap for participation. If you didn't win, you didn't get a congratulations. You got
That's a little rough, but all right.
a debrief. What worked, what didn't, and what comes next. My parents always thought that overpraising participation dilutes motivation.
That's fair.
I recently found through a Harvard research study that children who were praised for efforts over outcomes showed 40% higher resilience rates in problem solving later on. The debrief isn't to shame, it's more to optimize.
I think what I like about her life advice isn't that she's just like, my parents. I think I appreciate that she like throws in the study. Now, does she take it one step further and actually link the study? I don't know because I can't get to her stuff. But I would be even further impressed if she would link the study that she talks about. Can you link shit in TikTok, though? I don't know how TikTok works. So, though she mentions the Harvard study, can she link it so that I could go read it if I wanted to?
Number two, I was never told explicitly to not lie. I was more so taught that the second you lose someone's trust, it will never come back. Come to think of it, my parents never punished me for telling the truth, even when it was inconvenient, so I never felt this impulse to lie to them in the first place. First grade, I told my parents that I copied my friend's math homework. Instead of reprimanding me, they said, okay, but when the test comes, are you setting yourself up for failure? Which I totally did. When I proactively came to them with the truth, they never yelled and never shamed and just used logic. Over time, I realized that the more open I was, the more trust and freedom I was getting. Number three, no critique without a counter proposal. If we disagreed with a system or a rule, we had to draft one that was better. I recently read that 90% of critiques stop at the complaint. Most criticisms fail because they only recognize what is broken, not what would work better within the constraint. It trained me to respect complexity and not just voice my discontent. I'm not sharing this as advice. It created anxieties and had its own blind spots, but it did shape how I approach problems, decisions, and discomfort. Sometimes it's interesting to see how the rules you didn't even know you were following shapes the way that you see the world.
I get the sense that her parents likely had high expectations and firm boundaries and a very particular way of doing things, which, like any parenting strategy, has its pros and cons. But I think in Becca's case, it served to create someone who is high achieving and critically thinking and also grounded, which is really impressive because there's a lot of potential for children who grow up in very wealthy or privileged environments to become not that. And I appreciate that she posts things like this because it gives us a peek into the family values that she was raised with and also helps us make more sense of why we like her so much. Her parents held her to a very high standard. She now holds herself to that standard, if not higher. She conducts herself very well and she comes across very intelligent and likable. This is another video she did all about her dating non-negotiables.
Here are my dating non-negotiables as someone who grew up in a more privileged position. For context, I'm engaged to the most amazing fiance ever. I'm going to start off by addressing the elephant in the room. This is not an influencer apology by any means, but I did want to talk about financial responsibility, and that looks different for everybody, right? At minimum, I need to be able to date someone who is my financial equal, not because I'm looking to take their money, but it's more so as a protective measure to make sure that my family's finances are not being taken advantage of. Now, expanding this to be more applicable to everybody, I think at minimum, your partner should have a healthy relationship with finances, aka not be reckless with spending, and also be able to plan for the future. Another prerequisite for me is drive, ambition, and hard work. I was raised on those values, and I push myself pretty much to the limit every single day when it comes to working hard, both in school and at my work. So I expect my partner to be able to do the same. This is probably the most important, but they need to be kind to my mom. I won't even consider them if they're not kind to my mom, because my mom is the most important, amazing person in the entire world. David definitely does a great job of doing that. Every single Sunday since we've met for the last 5 years, he's bought my mom flowers. Another thing to watch out for is consistency, not intensity. In my opinion, consistent effort predicts long-term happiness much more than grand gestures. You have to be able to depend on your partner for life and not just increments of it. In my last video that blew up, I mentioned that I have really high expectations when it comes to dating, and that's primarily because I'm already content with my life as is. I know I can live a happy, fulfilling life on my own, so if I choose to be with someone, then they have to truly add value to my current life, and not just because I need them to make me feel complete, if that makes sense.
It does make sense, and I love how practical and reasonable all of her tips are. This is a great example of how you identify your own values and then how you make those things non-negotiables within your partner. For her, she said that it's somebody who is her financial equal, somebody who is ambitious, who is kind to her mom, and who's consistent in the way that they show up for her. Is that too much to ask for? No. And this is a great
have you seen the dating? No, I'm kidding. Sorry. I'm being cynical. Ignore me. No. Don't forget, I'm in a long-term relationship too and have been for a very long time. I don't have to date. I don't have to date anymore.
video for young women to watch so that they can establish their own standards and not settle for less. She's being a great role model in that way. And the main reason I wanted to include that clip is because of the part where she addresses the financial aspect of her relationship. She basically said, I need a man who makes as much money as me. But the way she explained it was very thoughtful and it made a lot of logical sense. And you could tell that that statement isn't coming from a place of materialism, like I need a rich man. She's basically saying, you know, when you're a multimillionaire, these are the kinds of things you have to worry about. And I know that it's not relatable, but it is the reality. You unfortunately do have to be cautious about people who are only after you for your money. And so dating somebody who has their own wealth is a protective measure, as she called it, essentially a way to make sure that she's marrying somebody for love and not for money.
I bet that does kind of narrow your pool down quite a bit, though. Like, probably aren't a lot of people in your dating pool, though. I don't know. I'd hate to think that you had to settle just because you didn't want to date down. But at the same time, I don't know. It's hard to trust somebody if you don't feel like you can trust them, you know?
And I appreciated how she acknowledged how this is kind of an uncomfortable topic. And I know that most people won't relate to this, but I'm still going to answer it and I'm still going to be honest because a lot of people are asking about it. She's great about being transparent about her lifestyle without feeling like she's showing off. She's really skilled at that, as you've seen. And finally,
she is very skilled. Yes, you are correct, Hannah. She is very skilled. She is definitely very skilled at presenting herself in the way that she wants to be seen and conducting herself in the way that she wants us to perceive her. Yes, she is what Amber wishes she was. Becca is what Anna, actual Anna, wishes she was. This is how actual Anna wishes she came off on the internet.
finally, here's one more short advice video that I loved.
One of my biggest pet peeves is when men gatekeep financial concepts by overcomplicating them. My dad always told me if you understood it, you wouldn't need 5 paragraphs to explain it. First is the stock.
Well,
buyback. That's when a company literally buys back its own shares to make them rarer and pricier. It's like
AKA taking down your thirst traps.
a girl who takes down thirst traps on Instagram to make the remaining ones hit harder. So she has less posts on Instagram overall, but the remaining ones seem better and have higher engagement. Next, what's a trade deficit? A trade deficit is when a country buys more from other countries than it sells to them. It's essentially like if you're always buying stuff off of other people's Poshmark pages and no one's ever buying stuff off of your page, you're always giving money to other people and your closet's not making anything in return. Next is the foreign exchange reserve, and that's just the cash and currency a country saves for a rainy day. It's like when your friend keeps euros, pesos, maybe an old Sephora gift card in her wallet just in case. Look, this isn't my normal type of content, so if I've wasted your time today, I am sorry.
We love the breakdown of financial terms into girly explanations. She's
Do we? I guess if it helps you understand I'm not a fan of that kind of thing. I am a fan of simplifying things though. Like I appreciate the attempt to simplify it. I don't like that kind of simplification. But if it helps you understand the terms and it helps you understand the concepts, you know, whatever, then, you know, the goal has been achieved. It's just not my thing. But I do appreciate what her dad had to say. If you understood it, it doesn't take you 5 paragraphs to explain it. Was it Feynman? If you can't explain it to a 5-year-old, then you don't understand it yourself. Big words does not mean you're intelligent. As a matter of fact, I have found people who use bigger words typically are not the most intelligent people.
She's not talking down to us. She's just giving analogies that make it easier to digest in order to show us that these are not actually hard concepts. They just have fancy names, and don't let the fancy names stop you from understanding the concepts. And a lot of people in her comments are like, yes, more of this. Like,
Girl-splaining. Look, guys, women, folks, you don't need to have things girl-splained to you to understand shit. I understand that there are things that are very complicated. I do, and I understand that things are overly complicated for no fucking reason, but you don't need to have it girl-splained to you. You can fucking figure it out. It's fine. I don't know. I don't know why that one particularly pisses me off. I don't know.
like I'm actually learning.
I don't know. It doesn't mean I'm right. It could just be I'm being overly sensitive. It's perfectly fine. If it helps you understand the concept, go forth and understand the concept. It's fine. Go girl-splain everything about the stock market if that makes it make sense to you, okay? Was it not 2 videos ago that I was all excited that there was a 48 Laws of Power for women in the office, and I was like, I must own this book, okay? It's fine.
Learning something here. We need women to be more financially savvy. This is
true.
like true girl content. And you know what? She used the word gatekeeping, how she hates when men gatekeep financial concepts. And that made me realize something. I think another big reason why people like Becca so much is that she's not gatekeeping the lifestyle of the very wealthy.
What? Gatekeeping implies that she is preventing you from participating in it. How are we participate? I mean, we're observing. We're observing her lifestyle, but we're not participating in it. I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and be able to be Becca's neighbor. That's not going to happen. So I don't. I mean, it's cool if she wants to give us financial advice. It's cool if she wants to give us life advice. I mean, well-placed financial advice can help you rise up in your financial strata, but it's not going to make you Becca Bloom. So I don't know.
She's actually being open and transparent about that lifestyle in a way that's not insulting. It's almost inspiring.
Yeah, but I don't think gatekeeping's the word you wanted there. I don't know. Call me crazy. I disagree that the gatekeep. Okay, I'm just being pedantic, maybe.
It's really cool to see a young woman be so successful while also giving us snippets of information and insight as to how she got there.
All right, first off, I don't want to say that Becca Bloom is not successful. She has several degrees. She has a career. She's clearly smart. She definitely knows what she's doing when it comes to using social media to her advantage. All right? I'm not knocking that, but let's not stand here and pretend like she didn't start with like several head starts, all right? let's not play that game, all right? Becca Bloom has way more privilege, way more head starts than anybody watching her probably has. All right. There's very few people watching Becca Bloom's content that have equal footing with Becca Bloom, right? So the gatekeeping comment is a little off. She's not preventing anyone watching her from achieving her stuff, because no one watching her probably can. Right? There's just a level of achievement there that's not possible. So she's not gatekeeping because there's no gate. There's no gate to keep. Right? And I'm not saying she's not successful within her peer group, but we are not peers. Right? Hannah's not a peer of Becca's. Becca and I are not peers. You and Becca, whoever you are watching my video, there's maybe 0.111 or 0.0000.1% of you. There's 2 points in there. Whatever. My point is, you are probably not Becca's peer. And if you think you are, you're probably not Becca's peer. All right? There's no such thing as temporary embarrassed millionaires. All right? That's not a thing. That's just the story they sell you. All right? So I'm hearing, as we're getting closer to the end of this video, I'm hearing Hannah holding Becca higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. And don't get me wrong, Becca seems to be a very interesting person. Becca definitely seems to be an intelligent person. She does seem to have quite a bit of drive. As I have said, she's intelligent. She's successful, again, within her peer group. Clearly, she understands shit that I don't understand with that, whatever the hell it was she was doing for her job. That's fine. If she was at my peer group, she would still have all of those things, but she would not be a multi-generational bajillionaire, right? She would just be the person I went to college with who did well because they had internal drive and I don't. Okay, look, that's kind of my point. We're not peers with Becca. None of us are. All right. And right now, the language that Hannah is using is kind of placing us all at Becca's peer level, and we are not. And that's actually kind of working towards Becca's favor as far as like Hannah's kind of reinforcing the soft privilege that Becca has by doing what she's doing right now. And it's not intentional. Don't take what I'm saying to mean that, because that's typically how this shit works. It's unintentional. But sorry. What I'm trying to explain here is Becca is not like dismantling influencer culture. She's not participating in influencer culture. She's perfecting it. All right. She has clearly studied the playing field. She is clearly aware of the playing field. She's got notes. She's got a playbook, and she is playing through it. She is perfecting the craft. All right. And she's done a damn good job. That mention of game theory, if that didn't make you sit up and go, ooh, that's what we're doing. Oh, all right, look. So Becca has crafted a personality leaning into who she is to a degree, because that's allowing her to come off as being authentic, right? She's definitely leaning into who she is. It's not like she's created maybe she has, but it doesn't appear that she's created a personality completely from whole cloth. She's definitely leaning into her own self to a degree, but to sit here and say that she is not an influencer and then to laud her for all of these things that she seems to be doing, Becca's intelligent. She is playing this game. She is outplaying some of us. And that's not being mean. again, if I hadn't come into this already critical, Becca probably would have snagged me too. To be frank. I mean, I don't want to be like that, all right? But the problem here is that I'm definitely hearing Hannah, as this video goes on, I'm definitely hearing Hannah losing the plot. And I'm definitely hearing Anna slowly elevating Becca higher and higher and higher. And again, it's reinforcing soft privilege. It's reinforcing the manipulative tactics that Becca is using to influence her audience. It's basically advertising for Becca. I don't believe it's intentional. I don't believe that was Hannah. I know that's not Hannah's purpose. Here we go, words. I know that's not what Hannah set out to do. Both by the beginning of this video and by the statement Hannah makes later on. But Hannah is unfortunately giving legitimacy, unintentionally giving legitimacy to Becca's platform by doing what she's doing right now. And the longer this video goes and the more I hear her talk about Becca, it's very clear that Hannah has fallen into the trap and did not get out of the trap by the end of the video. The interesting part of this is, unless Hannah is not editing her own videos, which is possible, I don't edit all of mine, Hannah had to watch this back to edit it and didn't catch it then. Which also shows me how fucking good Becca is. Because Hannah had to record this. And you know she had notes. This wasn't a dry run. Hannah had notes. She recorded this. After watching all this stuff, after picking out all this stuff, after forming these arguments and recording these arguments, she then went back and edited this before putting it up. That's how good Becca is. All right? I need y'all to understand that. So, all right, this one's coming up. Good God, how have I managed to get 3 fucking hours out of this? All right,
she acknowledges that she's well educated and that she's a hard worker, but she also acknowledges her privilege. She's self-aware enough to recognize, like, I'm in this position because a lot of very privileged circumstances in my life had to work in my favor in that way.
But this is one of those situations where you admit a little bit of truth in order to make yourself seem more truthful in the long run, so that in the short run, or you make yourself seem more truthful in the short run so that in the long run you can play a longer con. I'm not saying Becca's a con artist. I'm just saying, like, this is a tactic that you use in manipulation. You admit to something, or you bring up a shortcoming that makes yourself seem more human or humble, so that later you can use that to your advantage if someone were to come up and accuse you of something, or if something happens that is going to come back on you that you can foresee, right? It's getting out ahead of things, right? I'm not saying, but it's like preemptive damage control. I'm not saying that's what Becca's doing, but it can be perceived that way. And since everything else that's going on, since I'm seeing other things, I just want people to be aware that this is a tactic that can be used. I know I'm being a little, we overthink things here, all right?
And I think that comes across very well in the delivery of her videos. To wrap this up, I wanted to show you one more example of a video I saw on her TikTok that was actually the only thing that she's ever posted that I saw that received any level of backlash. And that is a video that she posted with influencer Haley Bailey. They were both attending a fundraising.
Really? People don't like Haley? I watch Haley all the time. Well, yeah, I watch Haley all the time. I think she's funny as hell. When the group chat cancels, but you're the duo.
Gala in New York, and they made this short video together joking about how they were the only two from their friend group who made it to the event because everybody else canceled. And the comments were full of instant backlash and disappointment. Over 2,000 comments, all saying some variation of, no, don't do this, don't.
The section is saying no, then you need to be concerned. Becca, no, you're our national treasure. No, Becca, you're better than this. Becca, think of the stocks. This is not a good investment. What's wrong with Haley Bailey?
Start hanging out with influencers. Someone even said,
Is it just because she's an influencer? Like, what the fuck did she do? I don't follow influencers. I watch that other girl because she does comedy sometimes.
no, Becca, no, please don't downgrade yourself. Like, dang, that's gotta really hurt if you're Haley. Someone else said, Becca.
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck did Haley do? I think she's funny. She does little sketch comedies that I watch.
Think of the stocks. The stocks. This is not a good investment.
That was actually a pretty funny one. I don't know who did that one, but that was pretty funny.
Because in one of Becca's advice videos, she was using business analogies to describe relationship dynamics. And so people are like, no, don't invest in this relationship. Gotcha. It's not a good ROI. This video brought out a fear in Becca's followers that they are scared that she's going to like go to the dark side and start hanging out with influencers.
Could she not just be friends? All right, you know what? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I guess I'm just defending Haley because I'm like, I've watched several of Haley's skits and I thought she was fucking hilarious, but I don't know Haley as a person, so there's no reason for me to defend her.
Being seen with an influencer cheapens her, which, damn, that's really harsh to say. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to point any of that negativity towards Haley specifically. It's just that people have
But you know, I understand.
Come to view Becca on a
nothing. Did Haley do something? I like Haley.
Higher level. She's held to a higher standard than influencers because people have more respect for her than they do for influencers. This video was posted in April and I haven't found any more videos with influencers on her account since, I don't believe, which comes as a relief to her followers, I'm sure. And she's grown to over 3 million.
Yeah, but how does she have friends now? Or I guess she just doesn't share her friends.
Million followers in just 7 months, which is arguably influencer status, but she's still remaining true to who she is and how she presents herself online. And I really do hope that it stays that way because, like I said, she's got that certain charm to her. Becca's got her own really great thing going on right now. Whatever she's doing, people love her for it, and I hope she keeps doing it. What I would hate to see is that her exposure to social media sort of tarnishes that charm that she has when then she starts to morph over time into this like unrelatable, insufferable influencer that we're used to seeing.
She's worth more than, like, my entire apartment complex put together. All right? Probably 2 to 3 times my entire apartment complex put together, plus the surrounding neighborhood. I just want to throw that out there. That is not relatable. I know how much my apartment complex and the surrounding neighborhood makes. Well, I know ballpark. Kind of my point. Like, that is not relatable.
It seems like she stayed true to herself up until this point, and I hope that it remains that way. I think the moral of the story to this entire video is that people want the best for good people. It's easy to be happy for somebody who's in a more privileged position than you when you feel like they're deserving of it. It really is as simple as that, I think, because when you see rich influencers, it's hard to see how they're deserving of it, honestly. They come across as entitled and snobby, and they lack the self-awareness to acknowledge their privilege, and they don't recognize that it's not a good look to be rubbing their money in the faces of the people who have helped fund that lifestyle. I think as a society, we have a level of disgust towards the wealthy, which is completely understandable, but I really do feel like maybe it's not the money that's the issue, it's how people conduct themselves when they have money that's the issue. And Becca has sort of found a home within that space on social media. I'll leave you with this. Be a good human, be humble, be self-aware, acknowledge your privilege, and be kind to others. Those qualities will take you really far in life. And with that, I think that's everything I have for you for today's video. I am a little bit nervous about how this is going to go over because I know the heart of the Influencer Insanity series on my channel is to be highly critical and to kind of pick apart really problematic trends or concerning things you see in influencer culture. And this video is unique in the sense that it's not really that. It's a larger discussion about why people are taking this huge interest in this wealthy lifestyle content when it's like, hold on, I thought we were kind of moving away from that. We were getting tired of that. I really dislike the way that that content makes me feel when it's coming from an influencer, but for some reason when Becca does it, I feel differently. So I'd love to hear your take on all of these things because as I said at the top of the video, I feel like I'm kind of just summarizing the collective opinion that I've seen in her comment sections. Overwhelmingly, people are in support of Becca. They like her. But I do recognize everyone is different. Everyone can watch the same video and interpret it multiple different ways. So if you have a differing opinion, I'd love to hear about it down below. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you in my next one real soon.
All right. So she definitely wraps up the video. Hannah wraps up the video knowing that she's going to get some kind of pushback. I don't think she expected as much as she got, but she definitely wrapped up knowing she was going to get some kind of pushback. All right. So that brings us to my favorite. Critical responses to Hannah's video were people did not like Hannah painting Becca as being refreshing and unfiltered and unbothered. the unbothered rich girl that's just happening to go viral. A lot of people were pointing out that, again, Becca was working with a talent agency. Again, I personally, at this point, believe the talent agency is working for Becca. So, but that's me. That's me. The audience was not terribly pleased with Haley not calling out the wealth flaunting, the wealth signaling, and calling it humility. They seem to think that Becca was bragging and was being brash in her own quiet way, and that Hannah, wow, I was going to say Haley. I'm terrible with names today. And that Hannah wasn't catching that. People were definitely saying things to the degree of that Becca is indeed an influencer, even though part of Hannah's argument is that Becca is not an influencer, because, again, part of Hannah's argument is that Becca doesn't need TikTok because Becca has a career and wealth outside of TikTok. So in Hannah's argument, Becca could just turn off TikTok tomorrow or today and have no negative repercussions as far as her income sources are concerned, or negative influence whatsoever. She probably has enough money she could make herself vanish if she wanted to. Which also kind of leans into, you know, what's the motivation behind Becca having the TikTok, and it's a game. But the amount of praise, this is another comment, another thing that the commenters were a little upset about. The amount of praise that Hannah has for Becca definitely ramps up the longer the video goes on. Like I said, it starts about, I don't want to say, somewhere around the 15 minute mark. Actually, I think it starts earlier than that. Anyway, it starts off early in the video, and definitely by the end of the video, it's very clear what Hannah's opinion of Becca is, even though at the end she tries to kind of bring, at the very, very end, Hannah tries to bring the video back around to her original hypothesis or thesis, I guess, which is, you know, why do people like Becca when they don't like other influencers who are wealth signaling? Even though Becca wealth signals throughout all of her videos, it's just Becca is quietly wealth signaling versus other influencers who are like throwing shit in your face, right? And people definitely were calling out the amount of waste that Becca was, like, waste being like the amount of wealth, that the amount of money that Becca was wasting. Again, going back to feeding your cat caviar, the Versace plates, the car, things that they were just particularly calling out. And that Hannah not only kind of laughed off, which is not typical for Hannah, but even kind of leaned into at points. But this goes back to Becca Bloom is playing a strategy. This is a strategy. Her talking about game theory there, like, Hannah could not have caught a better clip for me. This is a game. I'm not entirely sure exactly what the outcome of this game is, but Becca's definitely running some kind of experiment here. We are the experiment. There's a game going on here. This is a strategy that Becca has put into action. She's the experiment. We're the mice, right? I don't know how long this is going to run. I don't know what the final outcome is going to be. I guess we'll find out when we get there. And Becca is presenting a fantasy. She's trying to get the audience to participate. She's trying to build that parasocial relationship with the audience. And she's quietly outrageous. She's quietly wealthy. And yes, she seems very personable. Yes, she seems very humble. Yes, she's not like rubbing her wealth in our faces, but she is. kind of a thing. So she's not obnoxious about it. So she does seem to have some really good like life advice, and just she's very smart. She is easy to listen to. She is funny. I mean, she's personable. So she's a better person than I am. Anyway, that comment's gonna live rent free in my head for a while. Anyway, but that's part of it though. Like, because she's so disarming, it's easier for her to manipulate us, right? But these are all things that the commenters, the dissenters on Hannah's video were bringing up. Now, Hannah's response, I read it in the very first video. I should probably read it again, though. Let me go read Hannah's response to the comments. I'm not going to read the replies to the pinned comment because I'm not playing that game. I'm sure there are people who agreed with it. I'm sure there are people that didn't. We're not playing this game all day. Anyway, Hannah pinned a comment responding to the comments, and it says, regarding the feedback, I haven't refreshed this yet, so this is what this looked like as of yesterday. So if she's altered it, I don't know what it looks like yet. Regarding the feedback on this video, I see you, I hear you. My intent was not to praise Becca or to glorify extreme wealth, but I absolutely see how it came off that way with some of my commentary. Rather, my intent was to explore the strange phenomena of why someone like Becca has shot to internet popularity. It is confusing why someone in Becca's position would have so many supporters on her own videos, given the wealth disparity in our country and the tone-deaf nature of her content. I made this video to summarize the reasons why she's gotten so much support so quickly on her own platform, a way of discussing a perplexing internet trend the same way I do in my other influencer insanity videos. That said, I missed the mark on my delivery and with the depth of my analysis, and I can see the harmful impact it has had. I don't know about that. I can understand how this video feels uncharacteristic for my channel. I appreciate all of the feedback, and I will take it into consideration moving forward. All right, look, I don't know if it's harmful, but she's definitely trying to Hannah is definitely trying to make a blanket statement here. Again, when I looked at this yesterday, there were, again, over 6,000 comments. That's a lot of comments. Some of these comments have hundreds of likes on them. Some of these comments have hundreds of comments underneath the comments. There's a lot going on. I in no way expect Hannah to have read all of this. That would be crazy. I don't even know if you could. So I think the comment that Hannah crafted and pinned is probably the best that she can do given the circumstances. And I think that she addressed it. I think the way that she addressed it personally was well done. But she is trying to make her point. She is trying to say, I see what you said. I'm trying to reiterate my point. I'm trying to recenter this on what my motives had been. But at the beginning of all of this, in the very first video of this reaction, I redid her thesis, her hypothesis, and I restated it so that we could look at it going forward. I don't even know if we managed it, to be honest with you. I can see how people might be upset with her 2-paragraph statement, only because it does feel a little dismissive if you were somebody who felt like you have been hurt by this. She says, I missed the mark on my delivery and the depth of my analysis. Now, she did reinforce, and I think I called her on this a few times, she did reinforce a class-based aesthetic on consumption. She was very class conscious through this entire video, and she made a lot of assumptions about Becca because of Becca's class and her economic status throughout this video. So she didn't do Becca a lot of favors in that aspect, but because of that, she was also doing a disservice to the audience who was watching her. That, I think, was one of the things that I personally had an issue with, but I don't think it makes the video bad. But she did participate, but she did do, she did reinforce the soft privilege. I said this a few times, the soft privilege that Becca has. And this video ended up turning into basically a commercial for Becca and her super cool, super calm, Robin Hood-esque rich person personality. And it really started to distract away from the fact that Becca has an agenda, right? And it really did start to distract away from what the hell is Becca up to, right? And she did minimize a lot of the implications of Becca performing and displaying her wealth as a form of soft power, right? Though Becca didn't at any point rub her wealth in our faces, she was constantly displaying her wealth and wealth signaling. And as I said, if you already know what the signals are, you know. If you know, you know. You don't need to be told, right? But Hannah was constantly looking things up for us to let us know how expensive these things are, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But Becca knows that people will do that. And Becca knows that people are going to look up how expensive that necklace was and how much that car cost and how much her Versace plates were and how much that egg-shaped silverware thing was, right? And once we know how much these things cost, that's when we see the power dynamics start to go out or start to play, right? Because she has a $2,000 egg that has her silverware in it. I think it's cool. I'm not paying $2,000 for it, but she can without blinking, right? Her fiance can buy her a $400K necklace as a wedding gift, right? Those kind of things. Her dad bought her mother a 4K car because there wasn't even a reason for the car. He just bought it for her, right? And that's the power dynamic that's being displayed there. And Hannah kind of leaned into it and kind of minimized it, really. Because there were many times where Hannah would bring up, I just don't even mind it. It doesn't even register for me. I think it's kind of endearing. And it minimizes that. Where in movies, in videos past, Hannah would have been on that shit, right? She does admit that this is uncharacteristic for her channel. So Hannah is admitting that this is off-brand for her. She is implying that those of us who have watched most of these, well, up to this point, 22 videos that she does like this, that this is not what her videos are usually like. I mean, I usually enjoy having a back and forth with her in my head because, sometimes I think she overthinks things myself. And that's coming from me. And I like arguing with her and I like disagreeing with her because I think it's interesting to have two different perspectives. But, I'm not usually this critical of her, right? Not in this way. All right, so final thoughts. We restated Hannah's question at the beginning of the very first video. Part 1 that came out yesterday. Why does Becca receive so much support despite her extreme wealth? It's because Becca performs her extreme wealth in an ambient setting. It is not the main character. She's quietly wealthy. She underplays her wealth. Unless you look shit up, you have no idea what this crap costs. Unless that kind of thing. She never mentions the price tags on things, or at least if she does, we didn't hear it. She's just kind of like the average person who's just asking. She's your friend who's just asking for your opinion on which purse to wear with what outfit, right? She's not telling you the price tag of anything, right? She's not even telling you how much her skincare costs. Like, I would like to know how much that bottle of skincare that she almost threw into her white bag costs, because I'm willing to bet it's a lot. It probably costs more than the amount of skincare that I bought all last year costs. Okay, anyway. But she also offers access to her lifestyle through her videos. And that, again, normalizes that kind of lifestyle. And because she normalizes it, she controls the conversation around it. She can moralize that kind of wealth, again, controlling the conversation around it. And if she controls the conversation, she controls the perception of it, right? And then the other thing that she does is she hides her power in plain sight by never talking about the wealth and just simply displaying the wealth. It's there. We see it. We know she's rich, right? We know she's really rich. If we want to take the next step, we know she's really, really rich. She just happens to mention she has 3 fucking degrees. All right? She has a globe-trotting job and a high-profile career, right? She doesn't need a man. She already makes money. She's only marrying this guy because she wants to get married, right? She doesn't need this dude. And he makes as much money as she does. You know, these little things that she drops. This is just flexing. This is her power flex, right? But it's so calm and it's so in plain sight. You don't even question it, right? She's clearly not part of the nouveau riche. So she's not hyperactive, constantly needing to be not verified. Well, anyway, she doesn't constantly need to be reminding us that she's rich and showing us all the rich shit that she's got and that kind of stuff. She just presents herself as your best friend, right? Your rich best friend. And even then, just your best friend who has cool clothes. You want to come over and play in my closet? You want to go to the Napa Valley Spa with me? You want to go to tea at Neiman Marcus with me? Help me pick out my handbag for, where the fuck was she going? To the auction that we're going to go to, that kind of stuff. So that's why Becca seems to have more support. Oh, she also just has like a common delivery. I think I said this in the first video. Her way of speaking is very common. It's not, she doesn't talk above. She's clearly educated, so she could. She could talk well above all of us, right? She doesn't. She uses slang. She uses common everyday vernacular. She talks like a normal person, right? And so that's very relatable. So she's not threatening in the way that she addresses the audience. Even her body language is very normal, relatable. She actually seems kind of like young and, again, innocent. So it's very easy to feel protective of her because of her body language. It's everything about her. Honest to God, the more I think about it, everything about her is very well crafted to make you like her. So that's why you like her. And again, girl's playing the game. She got a playbook. Right? And she's playing it. And she's winning to the tune of 3.5 million followers since January or something like that. 7 months, she said. Maybe she started in February. Either way, less than a year. Less than half a year. So that is why people like Becca when they don't like other influencers who flaunt their wealth, because Becca's not really flaunting it, but she is. And Becca's not loud and in your face, but she is. And Becca's not trying to influence you, but she is, right? She's not trying to create a parasocial relationship with her audience, but she is. And that's why we all like Becca, right? I'm impressed with her because she got the manipulation game down, and I am just fucking impressed by that, because if I find out she's a Scorpio, we are friends. This is my new best friend. Becca Bloom is my new fucking best friend if I find out she's a Scorpio. Anyway, all right, so we are finally at the end of this. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'm way more analytical on this than I have ever gone on a Hannah video. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I actually kind of fell in love with Becca Bloom by the end of this, and it's not because of her videos. For a whole other reason. But all right. If you guys watch all of these, I am highly impressed with you. If you've made it this far in the video, go ahead and put, you may as well put a gold star down, because I don't know how else you will have gotten here. So go ahead and put a gold star down in the comments section. If you have questions about anything, let me know down below. Do put timestamps down because I will forget whatever has been said by the time we get there. And that's all I've really got for you guys. So thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. Thank you everybody who's going to hit the thumbs up button. And that is literally all I have for you guys for this video. I promise I will never do a 3-part video on a Hannah thing again because I will cut that motherfucker down. But this was just a really good video and I really enjoyed analyzing this one as well. And anyway, I will see everybody in the next video. So thank you for doing this with me. Bye.
My outro music. You can't copyright strike me because it's just me singing. This is my outro music. Thank you for watching. See you next time.